Astra 9 space station floated above Jupiter, silent and wounded. Inside, red emergency lights flashed across broken corridors. Metal walls groaned under pressure. Glass fragments drifted in low gravity. Somewhere deep in the station, an alarm repeated, "Containment failure, Predator specimen breach." Nora opened her eyes on the floor. Her helmet display flickered. Oxygen, 42%. Core failure, 47 minutes. Biolab, 3 breached. Then she heard it, a cry, small, weak. Almost like a human child, Nora forced herself up and followed the sound. At the end of the corridor, Biolab 3's door was half open. A red warning sign flashed above it. Predator cat cubs. Extreme danger. Nora stepped inside. 3 small alien cat cubs were hiding under a broken lab table. Their fur was black and silver. Their eyes glowed blue, and tiny transparent claws scratched the floor. Their species was feared across colonies, but they were not attacking. They were crying. The smallest cub crawled toward Nora, shaking from cold and fear. Nora slowly knelt. "It's okay," she whispered. "I won't hurt you." The cub touched her glove with its nose. Behind Nora, the station shook violently. She looked at the cubs, then at the burning warning lights. "All right," she said. "We leave together." Nora opened the lab terminal. The files appeared on screen. Species, Predator cat cub risk level, extreme protocol, sterilize on breach. Nora stared at the word. "Sterilize," she said coldly. "You mean kill." The station AI spoke through damaged speakers. "Biothreat confirmed. Sterilization protocol begins in 30 minutes. The cubs pressed closer together. Nora knew the truth. These cubs had been taken from an alien moon for research. Scientists called them Predator assets. Military officers called them future weapons. But Nora had seen their brain scans. They were not hunting. They were terrified. She wrapped them in a thermal blanket. One cub hissed bravely, trying to protect the others. "Your shadow," Nora said. The second cub trembled but watched her carefully. "You're Luma." The smallest cub climbed into Nora's arms. "And you're Pip." Pip buried his face against her suit. For a second, Nora remembered her little sister Mira, lost years ago during an evacuation. Nora had survived. Mira had not. Nora closed her eyes. "I couldn't save her," she whispered. "But I can save you." The lights went out for 1 second. When they came back, Nora was standing, determined. The escape pods were 4 decks away. Nora made a soft harness from oxygen cables. Luma stayed against her chest. Pip sat inside her shoulder pouch. Shadow refused to be carried and walked beside her like a tiny guard. The corridor was dark. Only blue floor lights guided them. Suddenly, a security drone dropped from the ceiling. Its red sensor locked onto the cubs. "Biothreat detected." Nora raised her hand. "Override. Dr. Nora Vale, clearance Delta 7. Clearance expired." The drone's weapon charged. Nora stepped in front of the cubs. "Don't shoot!" The drone fired. At that exact moment, gravity failed. Nora grabbed a wall rail. Pip floated halfway out of the pouch. Luma dug her claws into Nora's suit. Shadow launched through zero gravity. The tiny Predator cat cubs spun in the air and slashed the drone's glowing sensor. Sparks exploded. The drone crashed into the wall. Nora caught Shadow before he drifted away. "You saved me," she said. Shadow blinked like it was obvious. Nora laughed through fear. "Okay, you really are dangerous." The main bridge to the escape bay had collapsed. Below it, the reactor shaft burned with white-blue energy. Nora and the cubs crawled through a narrow maintenance tunnel. The metal was freezing. Every few seconds, the station trembled. Then Nora saw something floating ahead. A photograph, she caught it. In the photo, Nora stood beside her younger sister, Mira. Both were smiling. Both were children. The edges of the picture were burned. Nora's breathing changed. She remembered the evacuation, the smoke, the screams, the rescue ship door closing before Mira could reach it. Nora pressed the photo to her chest. "I couldn't save her," she whispered. Her voice broke. "I keep saving things because I don't know how to stop losing them." Pip climbed from the pouch and pressed his head against Nora's cheek. Luma placed one tiny paw on Nora's hand. Shadow sat in front of her, silent and protective. Nora looked at them. The creatures everyone called monsters were comforting her. She wiped her tears. "No," she said softly. "This time no one gets left behind." The AI announced, "Sterilization protocol initiated." Freezing gas poured from the vents Nora ran. She burst into the hydroponics deck, a huge chamber filled with artificial trees, vines, water tanks, and oxygen plants. Mist floated between the leaves. Behind her, 3 drones entered, their weapons locked on. Nora spotted a maintenance rover. She placed the cubs in the front basket and jumped onto the controls. The rover shot forward. Lasers ripped through plants. Water bubbles floated in the air. Frozen mist glittered like glass. Pip accidentally tore open a nutrient packet. Green liquid splashed across Nora's visor. "Pip, not now!" Luma lifted her head and released a sharp ultrasonic cry. One drone's sensor shattered. It crashed into a wall of plants. "Good girl, Luma," Nora shouted. Shadow stood at the front of the rover, claws locked into the metal, tail raised for balance. Ahead, a blast door began closing. Nora pushed the rover faster. "Hold on!" They slid under the door at the last second. The door slammed shut behind them, crushing the drones outside. Nora breathed hard. Pip licked the green gel from her visor. Nora stared at him. "You are impossible." They reached the escape pod bay with only 12 minutes left. But the launch system was damaged. Nora checked the console. Manual release still worked, but the lever was outside the pod. If she launched the cubs, she would be left behind. Nora looked at Pip, Luma, and Shadow. Her eyes filled with pain. "It's okay," she whispered. "I can save you." She placed the cubs inside the escape pod. Pip immediately tried to climb out. Nora gently pushed him back. "Please," she said, "let me do this." The glass door sealed. The cubs cried and scratched at it. Nora placed her hand against the glass. "I love you, my brave little cubs." Then she ran to the manual lever. A fallen metal beam blocked it. Nora pulled with all her strength. It did not move. Inside the pod, Shadow stopped crying. He understood. Suddenly, the emergency vent burst open. Shadow squeezed out first. Luma followed. Pip tumbled after them. "No!" Nora shouted. "Go back." But the cubs ran to her. Shadow dug his claws under the beam. Luma screamed, making the metal vibrate. Pip bit Nora's glove and pulled. Together, they moved the beam. Nora grabbed the lever and pulled it down. The pod engines ignited, but the cubs were not inside. The launch blast shattered the floor. Nora slipped and fell toward the reactor shaft. Pip leaped and caught her suit strap in his teeth. Shadow caught Pip's harness. Luma caught Shadow. The three predator cat cubs formed a living chain. Nora reached up and grabbed the edge. Slowly, she climbed back. She collapsed beside them, crying and laughing. "You were supposed to let me save you." Shadow pressed his head against her arm. Nora hugged them close. "Fine," she whispered. "We save each other." Only 4 minutes remained. The escape pod was damaged, but the emergency cargo capsule still had power. It was not meant for humans. It was not meant for cubs, but it could launch. Nora carried the predator cat cubs inside and sealed the hatch. The capsule was small and cold. Pip climbed onto her shoulder. Luma curled against her chest. Shadow sat near the hatch, watching like a guard. Nora activated the console. Destination, nearest rescue beacon. The computer replied, "Cargo capsule, not rated for biological passengers." Nora breathed out, "I know, launch anyway." Authorization required. Nora placed her hand on the scanner. "Dr. Nora Vale, final override." The capsule launched. Behind them, Astra 9 collapsed into itself. A blue-white shockwave spread across space and slammed into the capsule. Everything spun. Nora hit the wall. Her vision blurred. She activated the transmitter. "This is Dr. Nora Vale. 4 survivors. 1 human. 3?" She looked at the cubs. Pip was shaking. Luma was curled close. Shadow still guarded the hatch. Nora softened. 3 predator cat cubs. Static answered. Then a voice came through. "Rescue vessel Ardent receiving. Hold tight, Dr. Vale. We see you." Nora closed her eyes. Pip curled under her chin. Luma purred weakly. Shadow finally rested beside her hand. Nora woke in the medbay of the rescue ship Ardent. The lights were warm. No alarms. No fire. No freezing gas. Just a soft sound beside her pillow. Merp. Nora turned her head. Pip was sitting beside her, face alive and curious. "You made it," Nora whispered. Luma was curled under Nora's blanket. Shadow sat at the foot of the bed, watching the door like a guard. A nurse stood nearby, shocked. "They were locked in containment," the nurse said. "How did they get out?" Nora smiled weakly. "They're predator cat cubs. Doors are suggestions." On the table was a bowl of alien nutrient formula. Nora picked it up. Pip's glowing eyes widened. Luma crawled into Nora's lap. Shadow pretended not to care, but his tail moved quickly. Nora dipped a spoon into the formula. One at a time. Pip ate first and got gel all over his face. Luma ate gently. Shadow sniffed the spoon with pride before taking one careful bite. Nora laughed softly. The rescue captain entered with a tablet. "Dr. Vale, official records classify these creatures as dangerous predator specimens. What should I write now?" Nora wiped formula from Pip's chin. Luma slept in her lap. Shadow rested his head against her hand. Nora looked at them. Then she said, "Family." The captain paused. Then he changed the report. Nora continued feeding the predator cat cubs as the stars shined outside the medbay window. Astra 9 was gone. The nightmare was over, and Nora was no longer alone.